Oh, hey there. You look like you could use stainless long tube headers. Hey there, folks. My name is Casey, and welcome back to the channel. Look, I'm more of a muscle car, hot rod, classic car guy than a modern car guy. I have very little experience with the Crown Victoria Panther-platform or S197 Mustangs or any of the like. Basically, if it has a 4.6 in it, I know very little about it. I did have a 2008 Bullet Mustang number 125 for a little while. Wasn't really my style. That said, being a hot rod guy, stainless steel long tube headers are about the pinnacle of hot rod parts that you can put on your car. If you have any experience with the Panther platform in general, you know that there's really only two manufacturers of headers for that platform. You've got Stainless Works at about $2,000 a set, and you've got Kooks at about $1,400 a set for their long tube headers. Stay tuned to the end of the video. I've actually got a set of Kooks headers for the Crown Victoria here, and we're going to compare these to these Flashark headers that retail for about $200. And let me tell you what, they are an absolutely beautiful piece of engineering. They're 304 stainless steel, 100% TIG welded. They did just an absolutely incredible job on these, and they're very impressive. But these are for a 96 through 04 4.6 liter 2-valve Mustang. They are not for a Crown Vic. So when I first got into the Panther platform, I got online, I started looking for headers. I saw that there was only the two options available. So I went to the forums and I saw everywhere in the forums people talking about putting Mustang headers on the Crown Vic. Regardless, I wanted to see if an off-the-shelf 96 through 04 Mustang header would fit the Crown Vic, if it could fit the Crown Vic with minimal modification, and what it would take to get these on. So I reached out to the folks at Flashark and I asked them if they'd send me a set of their Mustang headers. And they agreed. They sent these to me free of charge. I'll have a link in the description to these headers if you want to buy them, and I believe I have a discount code in there as well. Again, if you have a 96 through 04 Mustang, these are headers for that specific application, and they are beautiful. I can't state that enough. We'll get in, we'll take a closer look at them in a second. But let's see if they'll bolt on to a 2005 Ford Crown Victoria. All right, let's bring you in real quick to check out these headers. Now, these are fully stainless steel 304 TIG welded all the way throughout. They've got thick, looks to be about 3/8 of an inch thick flanges. I didn't put a mic on them, but they're right around there. They're definitely thicker than quarter, and fully welded on the inside of each primary. They're just absolutely beautiful. Now the 304 stainless, you can kind of see here, are crimp bent, and so they don't hold constant diameter all the way throughout the primaries. The Flashark headers also come with gaskets and a full hardware kit. This is my 2005 Ford Crown Victoria. Obviously, I've cut the body off of it because I'm in the middle of doing an F100 swap. But I've left all of the relevant parts of the chassis intact so that I could show what it takes to get these Flashark stainless steel long tube headers on this car. Zooming in on the passenger side, you can see I've actually got pretty good clearance around the frame. This AC pressure switch right here, I did have to bend that line slightly because the connector was into the header tube, but now I've got adequate clearance. I may bend it a little bit more, but it wasn't too bad. Going down underneath, you can see that the O2 sensor does clear the floor. It's a weird angle they put this O2 at, but it does clear the floor. To get these on, basically you have to take off the manifolds and remove all of the stock studs. You have to remove the starter motor on the passenger side, but this header goes right into place. The driver's side header is not going to be as easy. Right now, if you look down in here, you can see that the motor mount is still about a ½ an inch from sitting flush, and we're not all the way in. The second primary tube is hitting the frame, and that is holding this engine from dropping all the way back down. Then the first primary tube also hits the frame. The steering shaft is going to hit before it goes in. So in order to make the driver's side fit, basically this first primary, if you cut it a couple inches off the head, you cut it down where it kicks up, you could clock this primary up higher and you could add length down there. It would probably be a pretty straightforward task to get that to have the clearance to the steering shaft and the frame that it needs to go in. The second primary, however,
The shape of it is completely wrong. You would almost be better off on the driver's side cutting the number 2 primary off entirely and making it completely from scratch. In order to install the driver's side, what you have to do is you have to undo the motor mount. You have to jack the motor up. And again, you have to take off the manifold and all these studs to get this to go in. Not too bad, but it doesn't fit. Now I know from watching Roadkill that you can smash a primary tube about halfway and still not lose any horsepower. Could you dent these primaries and get away with it and get it to work? I think you could dent the first primary. You'd have to smash it down there to get the motor to drop down all the way. I think you could dent the second primary enough to get it to sit down flush and drop into the frame. I don't know if you could dent it enough here to clear the steering shaft. But if you wanted to just use brute force and get these in, you might be able to get it. Maybe. Moving underneath the car on the driver's side, getting a better look at this second primary tube, you can really see the problem here. You're already up against the frame and the steering shaft needs to still go that way. So you'd probably actually be better off clocking this one up higher, going over the third primary tube, and then back down into the collector and just getting the whole thing inboard of the steering shaft. That first pipe can kind of take the same path that it's already taking. It just needs to be higher to go up and over the frame. When we get down into the rest of the length and the collector and the outlet angle is a little bit wrong. It's not really aiming at the hump in the cross member. However, it would be very easy to put like a 45 and get it aiming back in the right direction. But you've got plenty of clearance around the transmission and the shifter and everything else. Plenty of clearance to the floor and plenty of room for your O2 sensor. It's really just that steering shaft interference that is the big issue with these headers in this car. And again, when you're underneath and you're looking at this, you could really tell that if it was just a matter of denting the primary slightly, you could get these headers to sit flush. But there you can see that the motor mount is not sitting all the way down in this current positioning. Okay, I did also have to remove this brake line that runs over to the passenger side front wheel. There's plenty of room to reroute that further back before you kick into the Crown Vic subframe. But that brake line was one of the first things to foul the header. I've got the shifter mechanism removed for now. It wouldn't go in as is, but with the work that you would do to the primary tube to get it to clear the frame, you could give yourself enough room for the shifter cable to snake back through its original location. Moving back to the passenger side, plenty of clearance around the starter motor. The outlet angle is a little bit weird. Here it is once again coming in at an angle. So again, you could put a little bit of a 45. The bigger concern on the passenger side is how close the collector is to the transmission pan. Pretty darn close. You can still get that bolt out. I already took it out. One other minor issue on the passenger side is the transmission cooler lines do foul this primary right here. There is enough room to bend these slightly to kind of curve out closer to the transmission, and then that would not be an issue, but they do contact as is.
All right, and here we have for comparison the $1,400 per set Kooks long tube header and the $200-ish per set Flashark long tube header. Now, right off the bat, differences. The Kooks header is 409 stainless. The Flashark header is 304 stainless. 409 stainless is magnetic and it will oxidize slightly. 304 stainless will not oxidize. So win for Flashark there. The Kooks header is absolutely beautifully welded. These primaries are mandrel bent and they maintain constant diameter throughout. Beautiful fabrication work on the Kooks headers. Flanges are just as thick. These headers appear to be fully welded on the inside of the primary and then ground smooth for proper flow. And then you can see by looking at them that the primaries are then machined perfectly flat. That is a step that the Flashark headers did not go through. One thing that bums me out about the Kooks headers, when you're spending $1,400 for a set of headers, is they are not a fully TIG welded header. The collector welding is all MIG. And while that's not that big of a deal, you know, I think when you're spending that kind of money, you want a fully TIG welded header, not a partially MIG welded header. One other area that the Kooks kind of excels is that they have what's called a stinger or a merge spike or a collector spike welded inside the collector. That's going to help the exhaust gases to scavenge more effectively as they come through this collector. So that is a really nice collector design. Flashark certainly isn't bad, but it has nowhere near the level of detail inside the collector. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching this week. Again, really awesome set of headers. I'm pretty bummed that they won't fit the Crown Vic. Now, I did point out what it would take to get these on, and if you are a fabricator and you're not afraid of welding stainless steel, then maybe it's something that you would like to take on now that you know what's involved. Basically, one side fits, the other side needs two of the primaries completely rebuilt. It could be done, but it wouldn't be without its challenges. So why am I not cutting these up and making them fit? I know that I could actually get it done. I have MIG welded plenty of stainless steel and it comes out okay when I do it. But these are a fully TIG welded header. And even though I would be cheap into the project to cut these up and reform the primaries and MIG weld them back together, I would never be happy with the way it looked for what I'm doing with this Crown Victoria chassis. So that's why I'm not going that route. It could be done. I mean, everything is just raw materials. And quite frankly, these Flashark headers are less expensive than buying the raw materials here in the United States to build them. I can already see you guys blowing me up in the comments about supporting Chinese manufacturing. You know what? I don't want to hear about it. We have been sold down the river here in the States when we can't even buy the materials for the same price that China can ship us a fully engineered product. And I didn't do that single-handedly. And it's been a problem since I've been just a kid. So that said, if you want to buy a set of these for your 96 through 04 Mustang, or you want to buy a set of them to use as raw materials, you are money ahead to start with something like this than to go down to your local steel supply and buy products that probably still are going to come out of the Republic of China anyway, even if they say they don't. I don't believe anything anybody says anymore. Anyway, I will have a link to these and hopefully a discount code as well down in the description of the video. Thank you so much for watching this week, and we'll see you on the next one.